attention. These are words that many of us have heard from our parents, bosses, or tutors over the years. It's great advice. In today's busy world, we're bombarded with messages and information from all directions. Our ability to pay attention gives us a filter to keep out what we don't need and to help us make better choices. Attention is key to the Toltec advice given by Don Miguel Ruiz in his book, The Four Agreements, a practical guide to personal freedom. Thousands of years ago, the Toltec were known throughout southern Mexico as people of knowledge, and Ruiz believes if we follow their advice, we can attain personal freedom. Let's get started. During our life, we've used our attention to learn how to behave, what to believe and what not to believe, what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong. But how do we learn these things? By learning from others through their examples. As children, we didn't have the opportunity to choose our beliefs, but we believed what was passed on to us from family and friends. We agreed to agree and put our trust in their advice. Having taken on these beliefs, we form an image of perfection, an image we try to live up to. The problem is, we set the barrier too high. We are all human and have failings. We see it as a major challenge to meet perfection, and consequently we're not good enough for ourselves. We're hard on ourselves for not being what we wish to be, or rather what we believe we should be. Ruiz, taking the advice of the Toltecs, suggests the most important person we must believe is ourselves. While there are many pledges we make with other people to demonstrate our worth, the most important promises are the ones we make with ourselves. In these agreements, we tell ourselves who we are, what we feel, what we believe, and how we behave. The result is our personality. Ruiz tells us to follow the four agreements of the Toltecs as our guide. Using them, we can ensure our promises create the foundation for self-satisfaction. The first agreement: be impeccable with your word. We often use the phrases, "Your word is your promise," "I'll take your word for it," "You have my word." In each of these phrases, your word is a commitment to truth. It's the way you intend to live to deliver your obligations. Impeccable means faultless, flawless, perfect, spotless, or above reproach. Ruiz gives us another definition. Impeccable comes from the Latin peccatus, which means sin. The im in impeccable means without, so impeccable means without sin. Everything we say that goes against ourselves is a failing, such as when we judge or blame ourselves for things. Being impeccable is not putting ourselves down. When we are impeccable, we take responsibility for our actions, but we do not judge or blame ourselves. Looking at everyday human interactions, imagine how many times we put down others with our words. It's called gossip. It's become the way we feel close to each other because it makes us feel better to see someone else feel as badly as we do. Ruiz uses the analogy of the human mind as a computer, where gossip can be compared to a computer virus. Once infected with a virus, the computer doesn't work effectively. According to Ruiz, if we follow the first agreement, we can begin to make the changes to a more productive life. Changes in the way we feel about ourselves, followed by changes in the way we deal with other people, especially those who have an influence over us. If we follow the first agreement, we can start to progress to a more positive state of mind. Being impeccable to our word is the first step in our recovery. The second agreement: don't take anything personally. Ruiz suggests that taking things personally is the greatest statement of selfishness, because we make the assumption that everything is about us. But nothing other people do is because of us. It is because of themselves. People live in their own dream, in their own mind. They are in a completely different world from the one we live in. When we take something personally, we make the assumption that they know what is in our world, and we try to impose our world on their world. When we take negative comments personally, we feel offended, and our reaction is to defend our beliefs and create conflicts. We can make something big out of nothing because we need to be right and make everybody else wrong. Even the opinions we have about ourselves are not necessarily true, so even then we don't need to take them personally. People lie for many reasons, and we even lie to ourselves. If we lie to ourselves, so do others, so what they may say to us may be an untruth. Ruiz suggests we have to trust ourselves and choose to believe or not believe what someone says. When we make it a habit to not take anything personally, we can avoid many upsets in life. Our anger, jealousy, envy, and even our pessimism will simply disappear if you don't take things personally. We won't need to place our trust in what others do or say. We will only need to trust ourselves to make responsible choices. We are never responsible for the actions of others. We are only responsible for our own. When you realize this and refuse to take things personally, the negative comments or actions of others will pass us by. The third agreement: don't make assumptions. Ruiz points out that the problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are the truth. We could swear they are real. We make assumptions about what others are doing or thinking. We take it personally. Then we blame them and react by sending emotional poison with our words. Because we're afraid to ask for clarification, we make assumptions, and we believe we are right. We then defend our assumptions and try to make someone else wrong. Ruiz suggests it's always better to ask questions than to make an assumption, because assumptions set us up for a fall. Even if we hear something and we don't understand, we make assumptions about what it means and then believe the assumptions. We make the assumption that everyone sees life the way we do. We assume that others think the way we think, feel the way we feel, and judge the way we judge. The way to keep ourselves from making assumptions is to ask questions. We need to make sure the communication is clear. If we don't understand, we ask. We need to have the courage to ask questions until we are as clear as we can be, and even then to not assume we know all there is to know. Ruiz points out that when we hear the answer, we will not have to make assumptions because we will know the truth. The fourth agreement: always do your best. Under any circumstance, just always do your best. However, we need to keep in mind that our best is never going to be the same from one moment to the next. Everything is changing all the time. So our best will sometimes be high quality, and other times it will not be quite as good. Our best will depend on how we are feeling. If you try too hard to do more than your best, you will spend more energy than is needed, and in the end, your best will not be enough. When you overdo it, you run yourself down, and it will take longer to accomplish your goal. But if we do less than our best, we inevitably get frustrated and trigger self-judgment, guilt, and regrets. Most people only take action when they expect a reward and don't enjoy the action. That's the reason why they don't do their best. On the other hand, if we take action just for the sake of doing it, without expecting a reward, we will find that we enjoy every action we take. Rewards will come, but we're not attached to the reward. If we like what we do and are always doing our best, then we will really enjoy life. We will have fun, not get bored, and not have frustrations. The first three agreements will only work if we do our best. We should not expect that we will always be impeccable with our word. Just do your best. We should not expect that we will never take anything personally. Just do your best. We should not expect that we will never make another assumption. Just do your best. Breaking old agreements. Ruiz suggests that the first step towards personal freedom is awareness. We need to be aware that we are not free in order to be free. We need to be aware of what the problem is in order to solve the problem. Every time we face one of our fears, we're a little more free. We need to stop feeding the fear. To do this, we have to gain control of our emotions. We have to refrain from fueling the emotions that come from fear. If you have the awareness that the whole drama of your life is the result of what you believe, and what you believe is not real, then you can begin to change it. And there you have it, a short primer on the core ideas of the 4 agreements. If you're intrigued, go buy the book. There's a lot more to learn.